Hey guys, I'm Erik Peterson and I'm a men's dating and relationship coach for 𝕉𝕚𝕚𝕆𝕗 and today's coaching video is called If She Cheats, She Is Done. Now in these coaching videos, this is when one of you guys writes into me, and if I feel it's a question that would be beneficial to my viewers and subscribers, I answer your question in a video. And this email that I got from the user, it turns out that his long-term girlfriend cheated on him. And maybe you're thinking, what's the big deal? Just walk away. But they have a couple of children together. So I'm going to go through his email and see if we could get him on the right path. But if you guys need my personal help and you're interested in some private coaching, please head over to my website at 𝕉𝕚𝕚𝕆𝕗, click on the coaching tab, and there you'll see that I have several options for you to choose from. I offer standard email coaching as well as emergency email coaching, which includes a response from me on weekends and holidays. And I also offer both bi-weekly and monthly email coaching where I'll work with you throughout that time period. Additionally, I offer phone coaching for my North American clients. Now, if you're outside of North America, you've heard me say it a million times, I will have a phone or Skype coaching option for you sometime in the future, but for right now, email coaching is the way to go. And I'll post the link to both my contact page and my coaching page in the description down below. Now, this video is probably going to be somewhat of a controversial video, and it's going to sting for some of you who have found yourself in this position, but, you know, I have to be honest, okay? So let's get to his email. He says, Coach Erik, I recently discovered that my long-term girlfriend has been having an affair with a guy at her work. It's been going on for close to a year, and I'm completely devastated and disgusted. I don't blame you. Things haven't been going well between us for quite a while now, but I never thought it would come to this. We never do. She said that she ended the affair and we could work this out. Part of me feels that I should leave her, but we have 2 children together. I would love your advice and my best course of action. Okay, now I've been cheated on before, so I know how much this really hurts. Back in college, I met a girl who I fell absolutely head over heels in love with, and she was my first real girlfriend, my first love. And when she cheated, I was also quite devastated. I mean, it was like a knife to the heart. And because I made all the mistakes that most men make in these types of situations, I know exactly what to do here. And after I made those same mistakes with that girl, it was like she just twisted the knife that she lunged into my heart, just like, In other words, I went from being very hurt to extremely hurt. And not to mention, I was just so angry with myself for the mistakes that I made. And it all really scarred me for a long time. I mean, it completely shattered my confidence for quite a while, years. So I'm going to lay this out as best as I can, and you could take my advice or leave it. Now, when I found out my girl had cheated, like I said, I was pretty devastated. She actually came clean on her own. I didn't catch her or anything, and honestly, I don't know if I would have found out had she not told me. I was just so blinded by my love for her that I probably would have never even suspected it. But after she told me, I didn't say a word. I just got up, walked out the door, and I didn't talk to her for a couple weeks while I was deciding what I should do. Because I was so in love with her, I figured my best move was to make sure that she knew how hurt and angry I was, but also to give her another chance. This is what most men do. They want to work it out and give her another chance, hoping that everything will go back to the way that it once was. She was just so happy. I was forgiving, and for the next couple of weeks, it was pure bliss. It was like how things were when we first began dating. I mean, just lots of fun, lots of sex. She always wanted to be around me, always calling me, and everything that goes along with that. And even though the sex was great, I was having a really difficult time getting the image of her rolling around naked with another dude out of my head. And there were even times where I would become physically disgusted and have difficulty performing sexually. Of course, the more I thought of it, the worse it became. And that anger and resentment was slowly creeping back up to the surface. And not only that, but I had zero trust in her. While I never suspected her messing around behind my back before, now I thought just about every guy she came in contact with had the potential for her to cheat again. I mean, after all, she proved that she had the capacity to cheat, especially when I was being nothing but good to her. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was pure beta back then, but I was very good to her. And all this led to many arguments, me always checking up on her, always trying to control who she talked to or who she spent her time with. I mean, it was exhausting. Definitely not a good relationship by any means. It was just never the same again. I was in a band at the time, and we had a few out-of-state shows, and we ended up getting back home a little early one weekend, so I thought I would use that time to stop by her place and surprise her. This was after I gave her a second chance. But long story short, I caught her with that same guy with whom she cheated on me. Of course, it was over at that point. I still had a little self-respect left in me, and that was just the end for me. And like I said, it was like twisting the knife that she already drove through my heart. I was so angry with myself for giving her another chance, and probably more angry at her for the complete lack of respect for me. I mean, that is like the ultimate act of disrespect a woman can show a man. And I wasn't even that angry with the guy. I mean, he didn't cheat on me, and we didn't even know each other. He didn't owe me anything, and it was her that made that choice to cheat not only once, but twice. At least those were the only times I knew about. I'm sure there was more. And at the time, I really didn't understand it all. I mean, besides the obvious, of course. I mean, she cheated on me, I gave her another chance because I loved her, and she cheated again. On the surface, that's all it was. But over time, I began to understand what the root cause really was. And was it because she was a hoe or just a bad person all around? Maybe. But you have to understand that men and women cheat for different reasons. Most men believe that women cheat for the same reasons they do, and vice versa. And that's why women are always asking their man who cheated, well, do you love her? Because that's how women associate with cheating. As I'm sure most of you understand, men cheat mostly for sexual purposes, but not always. Biologically speaking, we're just wired to fertilize as many eggs as possible in a woman in order to perpetuate the species. It's part of our instinct. Not only that, but there's pretty much constant temptation for men. It's just who men are. It's in our DNA. And women don't understand the amount of strength it takes to stay faithful to one woman. I mean, plus women don't have the same sex drive that men do. I mean, we have much more testosterone that drives us sexually. I mean, I'm not making excuses for men that cheat because we can control it. I'm just saying it's not always easy, but I'm preaching to the choir here. Women, on the other hand, typically don't cheat strictly for sexual gratification. I mean, that may be part of it, but it's not in the same way that us men seek it out. If a woman is in love with you, she respects you, she admires you, she will not cheat on you, unless maybe she has some sort of mental issues. Men, we could easily sleep with other women while still being madly in love with one woman, but a majority of women just cannot stomach the thought of that when she's in love with a man. Meaning, if she's in love with a guy, sleeping with another guy is just like, ugh. Now, of course, there are rare exceptions, like I just mentioned. Maybe she has mental issues, or perhaps she's caught up in some crazy love triangle, or maybe even as a way to get revenge for you cheating on her. But those are exceptions to the rule. This doesn't mean that women are innately monogamous, though, because monogamy isn't natural for any human. It's just not part of our DNA. However, women are typically monogamous with one man at a time, as long as she sees him as her best option. Women are actually hypergamous, which basically means they date, mate, and marry up in terms of sexual market value, or at least who she perceives to have a higher sexual market value at the time. Like I said, women are happiest with their best option. As I always tell you guys, women must look up to you with respect and admiration in order to maintain her love and attraction. If a woman deems you to be below her own sexual market value, you really don't have a chance with her, or she won't be staying for very long, if that's the case. I mean, she may think that you're cute, funny, and all around a good man, but you won't be anything more than a friend to her in those cases. So if she becomes involved with you long term, marries you, or has children with you, it's due to her perceiving you to be of high value. Now, there is a bit of a caveat here. Often, very often, women will marry and have children with you if she deems you to be a good provider and a good father material, despite your low sexual market value. Many women marry men who they have lukewarm feelings for or low attraction for if they feel he will play a good provider and father to her children. But we're getting into a whole new topic here, and I plan to cover this in an upcoming video. So all women are naturally hypergamous, just like all men are naturally polygamous. However, just like men, they can control these natural urges if they choose. So typically when a woman cheats on a man, it's due to a lack of respect and admiration for him, and sometimes combined with disgust at your lack of masculinity or strength. Basically, by this point, she has completely fallen out of love with you. She may still have affection for you, like a good friend or a brother, but she has lost all attraction for you, where she has little to no sex with you any longer. In fact, I want to read this comment for you guys, which gives a great yet brutally honest explanation of this. I have to read it here from my phone. I have a screenshot. It says, cheating for women is saying, I want out of this relationship. Some betas out there rationalize their woman cheating as a momentary slip-up or some sort of heat-of-the-moment mistake. That's typically what happens with us. But he's projecting his psychology onto women. Men's appetite for variety is insatiable, and even if a man is perfectly happy with his girlfriend, side pussy is a constant temptation. Even if a man's wife is a 10, he'll happily be banging 7s and 8s on the side. There is no female analog to this, because women hardly ever have any sort of compulsion to bang men less alpha than their boyfriend or husband. But if a woman cheats, it's communicating something different entirely. Women cheat as a way to express their lack of respect for you and take out her anger at your weakness. And if you choose to stay, she will lose all respect for you, throttle the sex to zero, and metaphorically wipe her ass with you for money and support for as long as she could get away with it. Now, I'm not suggesting that you're weak, but something was going on in your relationship where she had lost all respect for you. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's typically something that has been happening for quite a while, and she just became fed up. And she met another man that was ticking all the boxes for her, and she gave in to that temptation. Now, why didn't she just tell you she was unhappy and wanted out, right? And in most cases, women do talk to men about these things before they get to this point. We just don't always get what they're trying to communicate, or think that maybe she's just not serious or just being moody. So we just write it off as, meh, she's just in one of her moods, she'll get over it. And most likely, she never planned this. I know everyone hates to hear, well, it just sort of happened. But in many cases, it did just sort of happen. In other words, she didn't plan it, but she didn't stop it from happening either. Now, I'm not making excuses for her. I'm just telling you how it is. Now, you're asking what you should do. Well, ultimately, this is your decision. I'm making it clear that it's your decision only because there's children involved. But no man should tolerate this. If it were me, I'd be out the door. Not only will you never trust her again, but you'll always be suspicious that she's doing it again. Not only will you never be able to trust her again, you will always be suspicious that she's doing it again. But if you accept it and give her another chance, she will never respect you. You're kind of between a rock and a hard spot here. Now, she may really buckle down and never cheat on you ever again, just through sheer willpower due to shame or guilt. but she will never respect you for tolerating this sort of behavior from her. And without a woman's respect, you will never have her true love. Now, there's a major lack of self-respect and self-love in tolerating a woman cheating on you. Now, I completely understand that you don't want to break up your family due to this, and you probably want to work it out for your children, which I completely understand. I don't know how old they are, but if they're old enough to understand something is wrong with mom and dad, you must ask yourself, if you do work this out and decide to stay, what is this teaching your children? Now, many people think that this would be teaching them strength and working through the hardships, but it's actually teaching them weakness and codependency. Now, if you have girls, it's teaching them that they could do this sort of thing to a man without consequence. And if you have boys, it's teaching them that they should tolerate a woman walking all over them because they love her. But you walking away with your self-respect intact will teach them the opposite of that no one should stand for this sort of treatment. Not to mention, most, if not all, professionals say it's a really bad idea to stay in an unhappy relationship or marriage strictly for the kids. It's an unhealthy environment for everyone, including the children. And don't think for a second that your kids aren't picking up on the negative vibes, because they absolutely are. They might not know exactly what's going on, but they know something is going on, something bad. However, before you make any big decisions, it's probably a very good idea that you seek out some sort of therapy or counseling from a professional. Now, I'm a coach, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want you making any drastic decisions until you understand all the pros and cons from a trained professional. And most importantly, you're not making any big decisions based on emotions that you're feeling in the moment. You never want to make big decisions based on emotions. And you may not realize it right now, but you're feeling all kinds of emotions. It may also be a good idea that you book some coaching with me, and we could get to the root cause of why this all happened in the first place, so you don't repeat this again. Many therapists don't understand how attraction works. They can certainly give you some great tools to work and mend the relationship to a degree, but it will only get you so far without eliciting attraction again. And this is not a shot at therapists or counselors or psychiatrists. They have their place in all this, but like I said, they don't always understand attraction. I mean, I've coached a few therapists. But if you do decide to stay, I'm sure you want her to be in love with you again and not just tolerating you because she doesn't want to be judged by her friends and family, or that she's losing your paycheck. However, there is permanent damage here regardless, hence why I say that if she cheats, she's done. There are no second chances for this. She has broken the bond, and you may have done some things that drove her to this point. I mean, you have to take responsibility for your part in this. I mean, you can't blame 100% of it on her. She didn't lose attraction and respect for you by choice or by some fluke. I mean, that happened because you are no longer being the man that she fell in love with. But ultimately, she made the choice to stray. Now, no man, you have to understand this too. I mean, no man could steal your girl away from you. She has to be open to being stolen before anything like that can even come close to happening. So while this other guy did play a part in this, he didn't steal her away from you. She went along with it. So overall, I recommend that you channel your self-respect and seriously think about walking away. Like I suggested, only because children are involved, I recommend that you first visit a therapist and make your decisions with a clear head. But just know that if you stay, it will never be the same again. She broke the bond and you will never get it back. Personally, I would be gone in a heartbeat, as I've been through this before and it doesn't end well. But then again, I don't have children either. So if you have found this video helpful, or any of my videos helpful, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and for you to share it with any of your friends and family. And I'd also really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below and tick that little bell symbol next to it so you get real-time notifications of when I upload new videos. And in the description down below, not only will I have a link to both my contact page and my coaching page, but I also have a link to PayPal and my Bitcoin wallet address if you deem this video worthy of a donation. So that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.